What I am interested in, though, is your take on how we go about how we go about addressing parents in this context, given that morbidity, as I suggested earlier, ain't a nice conversation to have, but that's ultimately what you're talking about, whether you talk about it literally or not. It's a conversation about morbidity. How do we, speaking of best practices, engage parents in a conversation where they aren't made to feel bad, but do get the point of how serious this is? Does that make sense?
Yes. I think this is why you're a radio commentator and Flavia is a pediatrician.
Okay. I accept that.
But what you're alluding to is a much broader debate that's going on in the country about whose fault is this problem. And there's no doubt that parents are a final common pathway for what their children eat, how active they are, how much television they view. But I think it's unfair to fail to recognize the broad impact that the environment has on this. So that, for example, in African American communities in Boston, we know that there's no supermarket. We know that children in the African American neighborhoods of Boston have less access to recreational facilities. We know that children in those neighborhoods are not in safe neighborhoods. And so what you would see as a parental responsibility or abuse of responsibility by letting their children watch too much television, by feeding them fast food, is accusing them of living in the neighborhood where they live, which is surrounded by fast food, has less safety, and therefore their children are watching more television. So I think I don't disagree at all that parents have a responsibility, but unless we recognize the contextual nature of their lives and their children's lives, we're going to blame them for a problem that is much more broadly shared.
What's your sense then, since you went there, it's a legitimate conversation, what's your sense then of how we challenge, for lack of a better phrase, those powers that be? Because as you're talking, Dr. Dietz, I'm thinking in my own mind, I'm trying to weigh which one is more difficult. Excuse my English, ain't either one of them easy. But I'm trying to figure out, is it easier to get parents under control where their kids' health is concerned? Or is it easier to challenge the powers that be that provide or that don't provide real opportunities for high quality health, fresh fruit, fresh meat, vegetables, parks, safe parks to play and exercise in? I hear the point you're making. Neither one of them has an easy solution. I don't know whether it's tougher trying to get parents to do right or trying to, again, challenge those powers that be that create these unsafe, unhealthy environments. You got a solution here?
Well, it's not either or. It's got to be both.
Both and, okay.
Because I think there are 5 strategies that we know at the CDC we can begin to employ. Physical activity, breastfeeding, reduced sugar-sweetened beverage consumption, the one I'm missing is increased fruit and vegetable consumption. Those are contextual issues. In order to promote those strategies, people need to hear the same thing from their pediatricians that their parents are hearing in their work sites, that their principals are teaching in their schools, and that are being reinforced by messages and strategies within their communities. And I'm not sure that this is just going to be about obesity, that the issues of physical activity and nutrition are much more general than obesity. And I think when we talk about obesity, I'm not sure that people know exactly what we're talking about. I think they have an image that this is this person who's 100 pounds overweight over there and not my child who's 10 pounds overweight. So I'm not sure that we framed this appropriately just yet. But clearly this has to be much broader than just a family issue or just a school issue. It's got to be family, neighborhood, community, schools.
Donna, I saw your hand go up.
I agree. I think that we are all responsible for making sure that our kids have good health. And I think, to your point, parents do need to be responsible. I mean, in the Bible it says, train up a child in the way he should grow, and when he is old, he will not depart. So you have to lead by example. And so you can talk about it, but you've got to be about it. You can't say, well, I'm upset because physical education is no longer in the school system, when you can go to the PTA board meetings, you can contact your local representative and state representatives to make sure that you get physical education or physical activity back into the school center. At home, You don't have to tell your children to go out and play. Why you can't go out and play with them? Why, if you can take the kids to go eat, you can't take them to go play? And even on a local level, you can go to the community centers, you can go to churches. If they don't have programs there for your kids, you can get out there and lobby for it. You can get money raised, you can get programs back in there. So I think that we can't neglect that parents do have a responsibility, but we all have a responsibility because these kids are our future. And we're basically, I mean, think about it, we are unhealthy adults raising unhealthy kids. That's what it comes down to.
Dr. Gavin, you are, like, I'm telling you something you don't know.